Hello, and welcome to another episode of Fic Fiction, a magical bookish podcast for chaotic story goblins. This week, we're continuing our deep dive into the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas with the heart-wrenching prequel, or at least some might call it heart-wrenching. We'll see how we feel about it. Assassin's Blade. So get your favorite snackies ready and settle on in while we talk about Ardalan's favorite assassin, Celeana Sardathian. As always, we are your hosts, Crimson,
Molly, and Emmy.
Hello,
Hey,
hello.
babies. Hello, girlies.
Hello. How are we
Hi,
doing this week?
besties.
How is everyone?
Yeah, how are we all? How are you guys?
We're alive.
I'm literally the worst person to be asking this right now. So,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Okay. Molly has not flung herself into the sea just yet, so we're good.
Yet.
Solid star for you. Crimson, you look lovely today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I'd like to point that out to all the viewers to look at Crimson's
Yeah.
aesthetic because it's
And
stunning.
if you're listening, she is giving off hot goth mommy librarian vibes, and we're here for it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the truth is, I thought that I should maybe dress in mourning a little bit because for this episode, I'm mourning the loss of talking about books I enjoyed. Because I hate them.
Oh.
So that's where we're at today. But I did think it'd be fun to look nice for the occasion. So here we are.
Well, before we talk about the book that you inevitably hated,
Yeah.
let's talk about some other ones. What have you guys been reading this week? Molly, are you still on your monster romance trend?
Yes.
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 Play.
So, I am reading... What is the title of this series? That'd be a great start. It is called... It is called The Brides of the Moonblade Clan by Celeana. And effectively, I'm having the best time ever. It's about orcs. They are big green orc men who are hot as fuck, and they live in basically fairyland, and
Fairyland.
fairyland. And years ago, like 300 years ago, the portals between different worlds were closed off, and the moon goddess sent some fae to this different land. So they sent orcs and dragons and sprites and pixies and different types of shifters to this land. And basically, they haven't heard from the moon goddess since, but now she's sending brides, like moonbound brides, from our world to their world, one at a time, obviously, and they essentially are, picked by the moon goddess for each of these orc hunky men. And it's like
green men.
Hunky green men, and it's like a cozy fantasy. And I'm reading one at the moment, and I'm obviously, and I'm obsessed with him. It's bound to the Orc Guardian, and basically he's older than the other orcs, and he's been sent on this mission, and he's super hot, like daddy vibes, and he lost who he thought was supposed to be his true love when he was younger, and now all of a sudden he's been matched with this sassy, really happy, sweet girl that he's she's not for me, she's got to be with one of my clanmates, but I'll look after her until I can get back to the village. But really, obviously, she is for him.
That sounds really sweet.
I'm having the best time.
I love it. That sounds great.
Yep.
That's really cute.
They bang though, so not sure how.
Well, in the meantime, before you ask, no, I haven't finished Iron Flame, And I have been reading a bit. I've been jumping around. I haven't finished anything. I've still been reading Zodiac Academy, Ruthless Fae, and I've still been reading Price of Innocence a little bit, but kind of slowly now that we're past the episode. And I've really been focused on playing Final Fantasy 16. I don't know if we talked about that last time, but I've been playing this game that I wanted. I'm a video game girly, but I didn't get to play this one when it first came out because at the time we did not have a PlayStation 5 yet, but we do now, and I've been playing it, and it actually, like, if you are a story-based girly who likes video games, it has a phenomenal story. Like, I am really, really enjoying the story. There's also a slow burn romance in it, like the slowest burn I think I've ever experienced, besides maybe Kingdom Hearts, where like it's kind of kiddie, so of course they never really get together. Or like same thing with like Zelda, but in this case, like they're adults. They're in their 20s and 30s. Like things could be happening. There are courtesans in the game, and yet they almost kissed after hanging out for 20 years, and then somebody like walked in on them and they didn't kiss. And I'm dying to see these two get together. So we'll see how that goes. I think they're a little more concerned with like saving the world, but whatever.
But they could kiss.
They could also kiss. And actually, there was a time skip, and I thought for sure they would get together. Like they would solidify it by like, because they moved like locations like where they live. And so you go into the main character's like bedroom, like right at the beginning of the time skip. And I was like, yes, there's a really big bed. That's great. That means that they're sharing the bed. And then I go look at it and there's one pillow. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
So, okay, I have questions. Who has a really big bed but only one pillow? Other than a psychopath,
broody emo man named Clive.
Amazing.
By the way, I will say playing a Final Fantasy game where everybody has a British accent is very strange. It's like not to be expected, but I'm loving it.
I was gonna say, why are they all British? Are the other Final Fantasy games not with British accents?
No, like the English language is always like American accents. But in this case, but they're not. The thing with Final Fantasy is, even though they're numbered, they're not sequels to each other. They're like completely separate stories, like all kind of.
So you can play them in whatever order you want, really.
Yeah. Like you don't need to play, and in fact, most people will never play the first like 7 of them, like until like the remake of 7. I mean, most people won't even play the first like 10 or 12 because there's been so many and it's such a huge franchise at this point. But yeah, unless it's like Dash, so like 10 and 10-2 are related, or it's a direct sequel. But in general, like 9 and 10 are not related. 15 and 16 are not related at all. They'll just have very similar like themes. So like certain animals will always be there, like there's always chocobos and like certain summons and stuff like that, but they're not even the same planets necessarily. Anyway, there's some video game lore for our bookish listeners.
I love that. If we've got like bookish listeners, they're bound, some of them, at least half of them, are bound to play video games, right?
For sure. I think they chose to go with British because it's a medieval setting, which usually it's not. It's usually like a fairly futuristic or just really different like sci-fi kind of setting, and in this case it's like all of the magic and stuff, but it's more medieval, like they're wearing chainmail and suits of armor and stuff.
Yeah
And they live in castles and
love.
Cute. So anyway, that's what I've been up to. What have you been doing lately, Emmy? What have you been reading?
So we haven't recorded in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And I went through like a phase where I didn't read like anything.
And
then I read like 5 books in the past like 6 days or something.
Wow.
So I finally read Saving 6 by Chloe Walsh. And then I bought Redeeming 6 and is it Taming 7? I purchased those. I'm taking those away on holiday. And then I read The Crimson Moth or Heartless Hunter. Whichever land you live in, because it was a reread because I really wanted to read the second one and I wanted to remember everything that happened in the first one, not just bits of it. So I read that and that was really good. And then I discovered BookBeat. Have you guys heard of BookBeat?
Vaguely,
Yes, but
yeah.
only from you.
BookBeat is like, it's like Audible on crack. So instead of getting like a credit to get one audiobook a month, you pay like a certain amount every month, and there's like different levels of like premium memberships, and you get hours rather than a credit. And they have like a
Right.
massive library of audiobooks that you can choose from. And some of them you have to purchase, other ones are free. And quite a lot of them are free. And as long as you just don't go over your monthly hours, you're fine. So I got a 2-month free trial, but it's like 40 hours maximum out of a free trial. And I, in the past like multiple days, listened to The Crimson Moth #2, which is Rebel Witch. I also listened to Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood, and also The Pairing by Casey McQuiston.
Wow.
Out of
And
curiosity, does it count the actual time it took you, as in if you listened to it on like 2 times speed, or does it count the time that the book is supposed to take?
So I think it counts the time that the book is supposed to take.
Ugh.
which is the only downfall. But I also I mean, I got 40 hours, and there's 3 different levels that you can buy. So there's 20 hours, which is like I can't remember, like £10 a month. And then which is like one book basically, maybe like 2 if you're like super short. There's 40 hours, which is £17 a month. And then, or £17 a month, the big one. There's one that's like a step up, and then it's like 100 hours a month. For like an extra like £5 a month, you get like 60 extra hours. So I think that whenever my free trial runs out, I'll probably get the most expensive one. Because I have found that I have been having such a nice time. I finished crocheting my blanket.
Oh, that's nice.
While listening to these audiobooks.
Amazing.
I listened to 3 audiobooks in the space of 3 days. I was able to like listen on my breaks from work. I was able to listen on the treadmill, and I wasn't really an audiobook person, but I also love rereading books on audiobook because I already know the story and I can get into it, which is nice.
So what happens if you come up against your limit? Like, can you pay?
Okay. You've got multiple choices. You can, if you're on a certain standard, so if you're on like the level 1, if you reach like the 20 hours, you can upgrade the additional money for that month only to be on level 2 and get the 20 extra hours. If you're on level 2, you can upgrade the amount of money for that month to get onto level 3 and get the 100 hours maximum. Which isn't bad realistically, because if you've reached like 42 hours or 40 hours and you're like, oh, I'll pay £5 extra, and now I've got like 60 extra hours this month. Or if you're on the highest level, I think you can just like buy extra hours.
Yeah.
Which works pretty well. I don't know how much it's going to, I mean, I'm on the free trial. It hasn't cost me anything to get like 40 hours worth of audiobook listening. And I've listened to like, I would say 3 books and like a bit, because I used Spotify for most of the Crimson Moth.
Nice.
So yeah, it's pretty good. And Alex gets 15 hours with his Spotify, so I can use that too. So yeah.
You yeehawed that.
You did yeehaw
I
that.
yeehawed that really hard, yeah. And I'll probably keep going because I'm finding it really enjoyable. I'm in my audiobook era, and I picked up a real book because I picked up the Curious Tides series because I really want to read Curious Tides again, because I've got Stranger Skies and Curious Tides. If anyone like was listening, it made my top 5 books last year. Like I loved it, and I'm just having so much fun reading it the second time around. But it took me like a good solid 20 minutes to get into it earlier because I had to use my eyeballs.
Yeah.
It really like threw me through the ringer. I was like, words? I have to actually look at them to no one can read to me. What? Huh?
Right.
Yep.
But it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Amazing.
Well, shall we dive into Assassin's Blade then?
Let's do it. So I'm thinking the best way for us to approach Crimson's least favourite book is to break it down into the individual novellas that make up Assassin's Blade. So obviously, if you haven't read Assassin's Blade, why are you here? Because we're going to tell you everything about it. The book is actually a series of 5 novellas that take place before the Throne of Glass series starts.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get the backstory of Celeana and her life as an assassin and her relationship with certain people, her relationships with certain people, as well as how and why she is actually sent to Endovia in the first place.
Yes. Fills in some gaps a little bit. It allows you to see. I like it. It leaves gaping holes once you finish it, but I really like that there's people that you meet later on in the books, and they reference like meeting her before, or they've clearly got a history, and you're like, what is this history? And it fills in some of the blanks, which is really nice.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Crimson's like, yeah.
So
They're
here's
like
the thing
about that.
Christmas episodes. So like, you know, like the episodes you get every Christmas of a TV show that doesn't quite make the plot. Yeah.
I should probably explain for our listeners. When I read Throne of Glass, Bobby has found Bobby Fits. When I read Throne of Glass, I bought a ebook version, and the ebook version was an all-in-one combo version of the whole thing. And for some reason, Amazon's like big set ebook of it puts Assassin's Blade at the end, which is wrong. So what that means is it wasn't until I had already read Queen of Shadows that I found out that I was supposed to have already read Assassin's Blade. And at this point in the story, you know a lot of things, and a lot of the events in Assassin's Blade have been talked about again. And this is also later than most people read it. So the thing is I can tell you for a fact, as someone who had read way past where I was supposed to before reading this book, there's honestly almost nothing that you find out in Assassin's Blade that wasn't referenced or re-explained in the rest of the book, in the rest of the series. Certainly there are a few small things that we can't get too deep into without talking about the stories. Like there are certain people that the relationship is not really explained, or why that person is loyal to Celeana later, but they're also not particularly significant to the bigger story. So
ouch.
They're not. So the thing is that like I don't know, like for me, I went in with an open mind. I was really excited about the big relationship, which if you've already listened to our Throne of Glass episode, you know that that's Sam, because she talks about Sam in Throne of Glass, and she talks about him quite frequently throughout the first few books. But I was immediately disappointed. Like,
oh no.
I had expectations about what this relationship between them was going to be like, and we'll get more into it. But yeah, so this is why I'm a bit of a downer about the book, because for me, I had this perspective of these events already from the way she looks back on the events later, and I do not think from that perspective the events meet the way she remembers them. So
that's really interesting. I didn't read Assassin's Blade when I should have, which is stupid because I had it when I should have been reading it. I obviously read the books as they were coming out. I think I jumped in around the Heir of Fire era. So Assassin's Blade was pretty much available to me from the get-go. My story with reading it was I read all the books and then I DNF'd Tower of Dawn. And then picked the other half of it up before Kingdom of Ash. But when I DNF'd Tower of Dawn, that's when I read Assassin's Blade for the first time, because I read it while I was waiting for Kingdom of Ash to come out. And I don't know why I did that. I think I saw on the internet, they were like, hey, you should like probably like read this. Like this would be good for you. So I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Could you imagine not realizing like Crimson did, that you had to read Assassin's Blade, and then you got through Kingdom of Ash, and you're like, oh, now you have to read this. And you'd be like, why the fuck would I pick up this now that I've finished Kingdom of Ash? What's the point?
It's not as impactful. You need to read it. At least read it before Kingdom of Ash. Like, come on. Like, it's just not gonna hit. Like, once you read Kingdom of Ash, like, none of the other books are gonna hit the same way.
Oh, for sure. I think you need to read it well before Queen of Shadows if you want any chance of it having emotional impact. I honestly think the only way to truly read it and get the correct emotional impact is probably first. But if you read Queen of Shadows, and especially if you've moved on into Empire of Storms, there is zero chance of having the right emotional impact with this book because of the way her character evolves later. Like it just doesn't work because she's so young in this book. She's like 16 and she also acts 16, like very much
she
so.
does.
And I think
you're really going back in maturity levels if you leave it. I think the best place to read it actually is after Crown of Midnight because it really, the stories in the book allow that chapter of her life, and anyone who's listened to our Crown of Midnight episodes, you know the big twist at the end. Well, I'll not say it here in case you haven't listened to it, but it closes that chapter of her life before things start actually picking up in Heir of Fire, and the series itself takes a bit more of a more not adult twist, but more of an impactful twist. And I think it's nice at that point because you're like, oh, now I can read these things that I know of prior, before bigger things start to happen, I guess. When did you read it, Molly?
I read Assassin's Blade, so I got into Throne of Glass after I finished A Court of Thorns and Roses before as Akamath just came out. So I had up to Queen of Shadows that available to me. So I read them Throne of Glass, Assassin's Blade, Crown of Midnight.
Oh, I like that order.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It made sense in my little gremlin brain, and it also meant that I didn't have to stop reading Crown of Midnight, which, looking back, I would have been extremely grateful for. So I would have been able to just go on to Heir of Fire after finishing Crown of Midnight. And after that reveal, I would have been frustrated that I had to go back and read a prequel.
Yeah.
So that is this Gremlin's certified way of doing it.
Well, I think all of the rest of my complaints are more specific, so maybe we should dive into the stories.
Let's begin the Eras tour of the Maas novellas.
Yep, let's do it. So shall we start with The Assassin and the Pirate Lord, because that is the first novella in the Assassin's Blade.
Funnily enough, this is also my favourite novella in the Assassin's Blade.
It's fun, isn't it? So in it.
In it. All right.
In it.
I will say I didn't hate this one. I thought it was like mid. I thought it was okay. And I thought the action in it was really good. So
oh yeah. So she, as in Celeana, has been sent by the Assassin's Guild, i.e. Arabin, to a remote island in a tropical sea in order to collect a debt owed to Arabin by the Lord of the Pirates, Rolf. Okay, before I move on, am I the only one that imagined Rolf as Hook from Once Upon a Time?
I have
100%.
100%.
100% that is Rolf. It is like, so for me, Rolf is like somewhere in the middle of Captain Hook from Once Upon a Time and Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean. Like,
I imagined him as Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean.
He's somewhere in there. Like, he's a little dirtier than Captain Hook, but he's not like you wouldn't let him actually make out with you.
I also imagined him with like short hair.
Yeah.
One moment.
Captain Hook has short hair. I can't believe you haven't watched Once Upon a Time. You would love it.
Yeah, it's kind of criminal. I'm just saying.
It's
So
like so up your alley. Ugh, this man.
Oh,
He's so
yeah.
hot.
Okay, that's exactly how I imagine.
Yeah. I
Right?
imagine him like that, but with more eyeliner and like a little greasier. Like, yeah.
Perfect.
Like
So
smoky man. Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, very smoky man. So she has been sent to collect the debt from the Lord of the Pirates, and in addition to her going, Sam Cortland is also part of the mission.
He is.
And he is there. And once she arrives at this remote island, she learns that the agreed payment that is owed isn't money, but it's slaves. So her mission changes in that she wants no part of that. So she is about to risk everything to fuck shit up and do what is right.
As she does in pretty much
As
every
she
other
does.
book. She just makes a mess and everything turns out fine
Exactly.
in the end.
Yeah, that's pretty much her MO. So I will say by the end of this novella, we have been thoroughly introduced to Sam Cortland. They have a lot of interactions. In this novella, they seem to hate each other.
Oh, they do not
yeah.
like each other.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very much giving enemies to lovers, but then you realise that he's been obsessed with her. For years.
I clocked that from like the very first sentence. Anyway, the one thing I said, so I've pulled up because I actually I didn't reread for our reread. But I did pull up my original responses, like because I was in a Discord group chat when I was reading this, and the only thing I said about this novella, other than like it was okay, I liked the action, was his personality is just Guy. I think maybe
He is. He's just boy.
He's
like
just,
he is.
he's nothing. It's just, and I honestly, I think I still feel that way. Like generally,
It's like first interaction with the opposite sex.
Yeah, he's very much giving like the Weetabix of man. He's just
and
generic. He's not very exciting.
Yeah. And
Like
their
Kale and Throne of Glass vibes.
relationship. Yeah. And their relationship at this point, you know, they hate each other. She's like suspicious of him. But he's very much acting like older brother with a bratty younger sister. Like,
oh yeah. So even though we realize, oh hey, he totally wants to snog her, he at the same time is like, oh my fucking god, can you not? Like, you are such a pain. Like, you're such a pain in the ass.
He thinks that she is like the childish younger sister vibe where he's like, you're so annoying, you're so cocky, you need taken down to bed, you're so insufferable. She's like, my favorite bit is she's like ruffling through the pirate's desk and like sitting in his chair, and he's like, fucking stop it, like you're gonna get us stabbed. And then
like, can't you just follow like, the rules?
Yeah.
So it's interesting that you brought up it's a little bit like Kale in Throne of Glass, because Kale is also a big stickler for the rules, and like in an annoying way. And Sam is also a little bit like that. Like, it's like you're supposed to be two of the most badass, deadliest assassins on the continent, and you're scared of what this pirate man is gonna do if he finds you rifling through his desk. Just kill him. It's fine.
Just like stab. Like, it's like, you know.
For somebody that, as you say, is supposed to be one of like the elite assassins, he has no patience.
None.
Like, none.
Isn't like a big job for the assassins is to like wait things out and like,
yes,
you know. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can talk about that later too, because I got problems with us waiting certain things out. But yeah, like they spend all this time in all of the novellas like in wait, because that's what assassins have to do. They have to wait for their target to like for the window of opportunity. Yeah, this is also the beginning of like a long series of, we very rarely see Celeana do her job well, even though supposedly she's the best at it, which I think is really funny. Because everything that they plan in this novella goes wrong.
It goes tits up. Yeah.
Like, so fast. And it was a bad plan to begin with. Like, it didn't, all of their plans.
Also, these two are supposed to be like the top dogs, right? It's like Sam and Celeana are like supposed to be like the top dogs in the Assassin's Guild, and they get sent on these things together, and like nothing could go more wrong than when these two come into things.
I mean, given the Chuckle Brothers,
because they're the most like elite that he has. Because there was Ben, but Ben got killed, and so
rest in peace.
Like R.I.P. And
R.I.P.
And it's like, you know, this is the best you've got? Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
They're really scraping the proverbial barrel at that point.
Yeah. Also, I have a question, but okay, maybe I don't know. Never mind, because my question is related to my quote. So
okay. Well, let's bring up the quotes a little bit, because as most of you guys know, we usually do a game once a week. Once a week, our whole life's a fucking game at this point. We usually do a game every episode. What have we done so far with the Maasverse? We've done
R.I.P. You
would have loved. Yeah. What did we do for Crown of Midnight?
I don't remember.
Was it He's a 10?
No, that was the fanfic episode. God. Did we do Fuck, Marry, Kill again?
TikTok trends? Was it TikTok trends that they would have loved?
Oh my god, I can't remember.
I literally don't know.
Too many episodes.
Anyway, well, we did something fun. It wasn't that memorable. We did something fun. I can't remember what it was, but whatever. But we, instead of a game, we've decided, because, you know, we've got 5 stories to get through in such a short amount of time. Short, like we don't take a million years to record these episodes. We would pull like our favorite moments or our favorite quotes, and we would chat about them. And Crimson has basically, I believe, has pulled a lot of moments that she fucking hated.
Yeah, I really did. Or that I loved, but it's not the way you think. So.
Shall we do a one of us two first, and then you comes in, since you can be the baddie in the middle?
Yeah, I think so. I think you guys be the good cops, and then I'll come in and be the bad cop.
See, I'm wondering whether me and Emmy have got the same one.
I would like to know that. Mine's hilarious. Mine just made me stop and think, for fuck's sake. Like,
yeah, mine did too. So I'm half feeling.
Molly, what is your quote?
He couldn't be dead. Not from the dagger or those dozen pirates or from the catapult. No, Sam couldn't be so stupid that he'd get himself killed. She'd kill him if he was dead.
Mine's the exact same. It was mine actually is just she'd kill him if he was dead. And I was like, what a teenage girl comeback.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, we're really just in the throat. Like, no wonder, like, later on, spoiler, beep beep, I don't know whether I'm putting a sound effect in there or whether I'm just gonna say that. But like, when Rowan meets her later, like, no wonder he's like, what the fuck are you? If like teenage, if he's dead, I'll kill him myself.
Yeah. He's she's something. She is so, and I think this is part of why I didn't enjoy the book, honestly, because Sarah writes teenage girl really well, but just as we talked about when we were talking about Twilight, I don't really identify
like teenage girls.
Yeah, because I didn't really get to be one very well. I had other shit going on. So like for me, I really identify with characters like Bella Swan, who like also didn't really get to be teenage girls and like found this different kind of more like whatever. Like that's really interesting to me. Watching a girl be like so angry at somebody else, like being bad. And I was also annoyed with that because I was like, you've been annoyed with him and threatening to kill him the whole time. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but they're saving slaves together now, so she fancies him now.
Yeah, whatever. I don't. Sure.
He played into her game, and now she's in love. Duh.
That's how I feel about that.
First time crush. First time crush.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Okay.
Kim,
So
what you got
me,
for us?
me,
Yeah, we were the same, Molly.
you and me.
Sharing that brain cell again.
Yeah. When's it my turn?
Okay. So for me, my quote that I picked is actually much earlier than that, and it alludes to something that is a problem for a while throughout this book, and then just gets like dropped later, which is, I think, kind of interesting. She raised her brows, but realized he couldn't see. The mask and the clothes were a necessary precaution, one that made it far easier to protect her identity. In fact, all of Arobyn's assassins had been sworn to secrecy about who she was, under the threat of endless torture and eventual death. Celeana huffed, though her breath only made the interior of the insufferable mask hotter. All that the world knew about Celeana Sardathian, Adarlan's assassin, was that she was female, and she wanted to keep it that way. How else would she be able to stroll the broad avenues of Rifthold or infiltrate grand parties by posing as foreign nobility? And while she wished that Rolf could have the chance to admire her lovely face, she had to admit that the disguise also made her rather imposing, especially when the mask warped her voice into a growling rasp. I hate this mask so much. I think it is like the dumbest plot device.
Mm-hmm.
I think it makes zero sense that she would need to wear a mask. This is like, there's not photo facial identity in Adarlan. Like, nobody knows what her real identity looked like. Like, and then the thing is, later in Throne of Glass, when she's taken out of Endovier, she doesn't ask to hide her identity, even knowing that there are people that are potentially part of the court, including Dorian himself, who could have identified her based on what she looks like. So she's all concerned right now about, like, how would I be able to roam the streets of Rifthold without anybody recognizing me, even though literally nobody knows who I am? But then later, she doesn't think... Anyway, it drives me crazy because she doesn't eat anything in front of anybody. She's always complaining that she's hungry. And it's like... It's just so unrealistic. Like, what do you mean?
Is it bad that when I read that and when you said it, I had visuals again? I imagined the mask that Bane wears in the Batman.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
I imagine, like...
I didn't see the light until I was a young man.
So, I don't think I did when it was... I imagine, like, the mask from Squid Game. Like, the master guy who's, like, pulling the strings with the gray mask. That's the kind of mask. I imagine it being, like,
I don't think I pictured it.
I imagine that kind of metal material, but, like, V for Vendetta vibes in style. Like, that's what was going on in my head. Like, I just think it probably looks stupid. Like, not imposing at all.
I don't think 100%. I pictured it, you know. I think I was very much like, this is stupid, so I'm going to pretend it doesn't exist.
I love that for you.
I think I was imagining her with, like, you know, like a COVID mask. Or something.
See, that
social distancing.
Like a bandana or something. Like,
yeah. Even if it was like a ninja kind of vibe.
Yeah.
I could go for that, but like
get down with that.
But no, and also the idea that it warps her voice, like, what kind of mask is this? What are you talking about?
Is it done with word
marks? 100%. It's 100% a Batman mask.
She doesn't even know that word marks exist yet. So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I really dislike it, and then it just doesn't exist throughout the rest of the series. She doesn't use that at all.
I wonder what happened to the mask.
It's probably hanging in Arobyn's study or something. Like he's probably got like a weird little shrine to her.
100%.
A lock of her hair.
Gross. Gross.
Yeah, yuck. Disgusting.
Emmy's the one that said that would bang him, so...
I reckon, yeah. Sorry, guys.
Would you bang Sam Cortland?
Yeah, probably. He seems like he'd be gentle, but also, like, patronizing.
He'd have no clue where anything was.
I think he would constantly ask you if it was okay that he was touching you. Like,
I feel like Caleb might be a bit like that too. And I feel like I'd also bang him.
Ew.
So...
But it's kind of giving George O'Malley from Grey's Anatomy.
Sam?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like once George O'Malley is confident with you, though, like, after the first couple times, he probably gets hot.
The chins are out.
Yeah. I don't know if I understood what words you said.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Anyway, do we have any other thoughts about the pirate lord and the slaves and stuff like that? Because we haven't really touched on that part just yet.
Would smash Rolf?
Yes, 100% would smash Rolf.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I do think it's interesting, and this is, I think, a problem with the series in general, and honestly, like, a problem with many fantasy series. So I'm not saying this as like a super critical thing, but there's really no explanation of what the slaves are supposed to do after they've been freed.
It's like, yay, you're free.
Yeah, you're just on a ship now.
You're on a ship.
Okay.
You could go back to the land of persecution. Like,
yeah, like, do they have money? Probably not. I don't know. Like, it's, yeah. So I noted that plot hole while this was happening, but also like, it just feels like it's so, like, I immediately was like, oh, this is gonna come back to bite her in the ass. Like,
yeah.
And then it did.
And then it did.
Shocking turn of events.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's very interesting and worth pointing out that, like, Celeana at this stage in her life is very short-sighted. She has ideas about what she wants in the future, but she doesn't actually seem to understand how things connect in the grand scheme of things. And so she's sitting here and she's like, this thing is wrong, and so I have to rectify it right now. But she's not really thinking about, what will those people do after I free them? Yes. What will I do when I have to go back home and tell my boss / owner, like, what I did?
Yeah.
She really
it's very much the teenage mentality. Like, you have a very strong sense of what is right or wrong, own sense of justice, but you're not really mature enough to think past that and to think of the complexities that would go beyond, this is what I need to do right at this moment because it's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also wonder if people who are reading it now, that there's so much information out there, who might guess or already know, especially if you've already read Crown of Midnight, who Celeana is. I wonder if it's a bit strange, because for me it was, because I was like, what do you mean? Like, this girl has been running from her destiny for, like, so long at this point in these 3 books, and doesn't really take up that mantle until midway through Heir of Fire, and yet she's over here, like, trying to do these, like, one-off things. Like, it just doesn't make sense. It's like, if you are a person who understands right and wrong and is so against what the Kingdom of Adarlan is doing, why would you not take up the mantle that's going to give you the most power to change that? Like, it's so strange.
It's just a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
Like, in the end of the day, what difference are you going to make? You have this perspective and you have this desire to do what's right and what will benefit so many people, but you're not willing to go, take up the position that you were supposed to. Makes no sense.
And I think this is one of the reasons I got kind of angry with her, like, already at this point in the story, because even though she's young and she's really immature, I feel like she's in a world where people would do big things really young anyway. Like all of the history that she tells us about, like, is about that. And even someone like Arabin is not old, right? So it's just kind of strange to me that you could have a sense, and like really highlights her own selfishness, that you would have this sense of justice, but you would run away from the option that gives you the most power to help people.
Yeah. Bizarre. I'm interested though, because what I really like about these stories, I will move on to the next one in just a second, is that they are like in chronological order. I don't know how to explain this, but I really enjoy that. It's not just like random clips. They do seamlessly go into each other. And that will bring us very nicely onto the second one, when Molly was saying, oh no, my boss is going to find out. Well,
he did.
Your boss found out.
Your boss found out.
Look at the consequences of my actions.
And he's going to send you on a little adventure. So the second story is about the start of that adventure, and the third story is like the midst of that adventure. So Molly, would you like to explain little story tale number 2 for us?
Yep. So the next book in The Assassin's Blade is The Assassin and the Healer. And I think it's so simple, but I think it might be one of my favorites out of the 5. So she, as in Celeana, has effectively challenged her master. She's cost him hundreds of slaves, and as a result, hundreds and thousands of whatever currency they use. Can't remember.
What currency do they use? Is it just coins?
Coins. I think they just say gold.
Hundreds of thousands of coins. So now she has to pay the price. So effectively, she's being punished. So she has to make her way to the Red Desert, where a elite and renowned group of assassins train. But this journey to get there is probably the most tedious and arduous journey possible. And on this journey, she stops in a small port-side town before getting the ship across one of the oceans. And while she's there, she meets someone, and that someone is Yrene Towers, and I love her. I love her so much.
I love Yrene Towers, and I love her sort of like, I love that the story isn't really about Celeana in this novella. It's about Yrene.
Yeah. And we get so much about a character that, spoiler, becomes quite pivotal to the plot of the rest of the series. And she's a different kind of power in comparison to the other female characters in this series. So we see a lot of powerful female characters, we do. Stress on the powerful. But Yrene's power is a bit quieter than the rest. So
she's very understated. I love her.
She is understated. So she is the daughter of a healer who sacrificed her life for her daughter when Ardalan was attacking the towns up north and just generally everywhere to crack down on magic. And Yrene did have some form of healing magic, but obviously when certain big bad person did the very bad actions that he did prior to...
We don't know about for a long time. Yeah.
That we don't know about for a long time. She obviously lost her powers and her mother, and she has been trying to make her way to be untrained to be a healer in the Torre Chesme. But in order to get there, she A, has to travel to the other continent, and B, has to find the money to do that.
Yeah.
So she ends up working as a barmaid in this essentially dive pub bar on a coastal town.
dick.
He is a dick. He takes every single penny that she earns as rent. So she's left with pretty much nothing. And the job sucks.
Yeah, the job's awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only thing I wrote to anyone about this one was Inish has to be the laziest name for a town with, wait for it, an inn.
An inn. Yeah.
And those are my thoughts. Yeah.
Wow.
I was pretty solidly annoyed when I wrote that. I think the thing about this one, I like the story in itself as like an encapsulated story. But in the context of the bigger story, I was so annoyed with Celeana the whole freaking time because I just felt like she was being so bratty and like just like, you know, her whole attitude for this whole story is that she's angry. Like she's angry that
She's brooding.
she's been punished. She's angry that she has to go to do this training, that she, even though she's supposed to already be the best, she's angry at Arabin for buying slaves in the first place. She's angry for all of these different things. And doesn't have an outlet for that anger, and so she's just trying to get into fights and like kill people basically.
Yeah.
And then along the way she meets Irene, and Irene is lovely at this point in the story. I will say I actually really liked her in this story, but then soured on her a bit later. Like I still like her, but we'll talk about
She
that when we
makes
get to
bad
her.
choices.
I don't like her choices. But anyway, like I did really enjoy her interaction with Celeana, and it was the one thing from Assassin's Blade that I felt like gave me something in the later books. Like when these two characters cross paths again, like
Oh, it was beautiful.
I wanted to see
it
that.
made me
Like that was
tear
nice.
up a little bit.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was nice, I will say. And their interaction is really nice because they are so different. They could not be more different, especially at this particular moment in time. They're much more alike when they see each other again later. But at this point in time, Irene is really honestly like, she's quite weak. Like she doesn't, she has like an inner strength still, but it's very dormant. It's been almost beaten out of her by her life circumstances. And she needs the inspiration of someone like Celeana to like cross her path. But Celeana also needs the softness of someone like Irene to cross her path so that she can, and she is like, she doesn't understand at the time, but she's very affected by her. And so I thought that was really beautiful. And then every other part of it, like I was like rolling my eyes.
I think I really loved, like, I just really love how this, like, the other stories are not as integral to the plot as this one.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I like this one so much, is because, you know, Celeana has just been like beaten to a pulp by her boss for losing him out a bunch of money, and she's covered in bruises and she's sulking, and Irene really tries to be like soft with her and like is worried about her, even though she's like, this person could kill me, but like I'm worried about this person. And then Celeana saves Irene from essentially, you know,
Patrons?
trigger warning for anyone, essentially from being raped, right?
Yeah. That's the
Um and then she teaches Irene how to fight back, and this is very much needed about 10 minutes afterwards, I'm not gonna lie. But I think it's so beautiful because she makes Celeana realize that there's other problems other than the problems she's dealing with. And then she does this soft thing where she gives Irene fighting lessons and then also the money to become a healer.
Yeah.
And
she gives her like quite a big sizable chunk of money in addition to a piece of like a brooch or a piece of jewelry that has basically set her up for life.
Yeah.
She gives her this really expensive, and there's symbolism in it too, because she gives her keeping in mind that Irene is someone who at this point really hates Adarlan because they have like colonialized basically her homeland and also have driven her from that homeland and have put her in the destitute situation she is in, as well as killed her mother. And the brooch that Celeana gives her was one given to her by Arabin Hamel, who is a sleaze and a gross person and really represents a lot of the things that Irene is encountering in her day-to-day life and is endangered by, but also is in the colors of Adarlan, and also is a spider, which does tie into something else later.
It does.
So it's really interesting that she gives her this, and then this thing also happens to be the thing that's able to set Irene free, and then also that particular motion of setting her free will put into place a lot of different things that are very vital to the story later on. But what's interesting is I still stand by the fact that, like, even though this one ties in nicely and does definitely set off events that happen later, you still don't really need to read this one to understand the events that happen later.
No, you do not. But I do love the impact that it gives. The other stories, like, you can read them, and a lot of the stories, especially Sam's story in this book, the impact is in the novellas, right? Like, that is where it is. But I don't think that you understand the impact that Irene and Celeana had on each other at such a young age until they are both weathered and in very different and new and other parts of life. And then they come back together and like spoiler, move like 30 seconds into the clip if you don't want this spoiled. But when Irene hands Celeana the note that Celeana left, all those, I like it just.
The fact that she kept it, that had been so much
sobbing.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
I mean, absolutely.
I can't wait to read that part and talk about it later.
Yeah, I can't either.
100%. So, what were your guys' quotes for this one?
I don't think I had a quote for this one. I think mine was more of a, I've got one for the desert and one for the empire, but I didn't get a quote for this one. And I didn't get a quote for the underworld one either. I just had a moment that I loved, and the moment that I loved was the moment where Irene really is like, I need to be strong, and like basically boots a man in the balls.
Icon.
Proper turning point. Queenship.
Amazing.
What about you?
So I obviously, there's the one where in the note where she says the world needs more healers.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
But another one was, this girl wasn't like wildfire, she was wildfire, which was amazing to me because what we learn later on, it's noticeable even at that point.
Yeah, she embodies it. That makes sense.
Yeah. Crimson, do you have one or?
Yeah. So
what you got for us?
So the quote that I picked was because this is indicative to the things that sour me on Irene later on. And also of a tiny plot hole. Which is, Irene wiped her mouth on the corner of her apron. She didn't want to know what the alternative was, what this girl might be. No, all she wanted was to smack her. Hard. You could have dispatched them without me, but you let that man hold a knife to my throat? You let him. Are you insane? So I remember reading this, and like at this point I was so annoyed with Celeana for so long that I just kind of like shirked it off. But then when I was looking through for quotes again, I got really annoyed at this quote because it reminds me so much of how Irene acts with a different character later in the books, which is like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, there was literally a knife pressed to your throat because she was busy, like, dispatching other people. And so, like, yes, we know that Celeana could absolutely have found a way around that probably. But, like, you're basically saying, like, you should have endangered my life further in order to save me. Which is, like, so annoying to me. And then it also is like, I don't actually like that after their defense lesson that she's immediately has to like use the thing. I think that having, because for context to anyone who's just like, I'm not going to read this book, so I'm just listening anyway. Like there was a fight earlier in the bar, which is when Celeana saves her from being assaulted. And she basically beats these people up that are doing this. And then one of the people who was part of this fight comes back later with cronies, which to me is so silly. Like, if you got your ass beat that hard and this woman has been taking on a bar full of like 30 people, you're not coming back that night. No, you're not. There's no way.
You'd stay the fuck away.
Your wounds and strategize, but then
you don't want to be embarrassed.
But and then also, like, men's brains at this time, if you think about this, a lot of the things that happen in this book are like, women are stupid and
yeah, but I just don't think, and I also think that to me, because we saw her successfully use it later on, when we find out she still knows how to use it, like it's less interesting to me, because I think it would have been so nice for her to just like take this in, still be in that state of shock, and then we have no idea what she does with it later. And then when we meet her later, she's doing what she's doing with it, which I don't want to spoil for anyone. And I think that could have actually been like an even cooler tie-in for that one piece than what we got. So that's just a little piece of this one that I was like, you could have just cut that scene out. We didn't need that. But
there we are.
That's fine.
Let's continue on the journey a little bit. So we're well on our way. So now Celeana's going to continue. She's going to get on that ship and she's going to go to the Red Desert. Molly, bring us in.
Take us away. So the next novella in the Assassin's Blade is The Assassin and the Desert. Creative name. So the silent
creative.
assassins.
Almost as creative as
writing choice.
Yeah. So the silent assassins of the Red Desert aren't much for conversation because they are silent. It's funny how that works. And Celeana wouldn't have it any other way. She's not there to talk. She's not there to make friends. She's there to hone her craft and become the world's most feared killer for hire and get the hell out of Dodge as quickly as possible because nobody wants to be in the middle of a desert. When this quiet is shattered by forces who want to destroy the silent assassins, Celeana must find a way to stop them or she'll be lucky to leave the desert alive.
Ooh, what a beautiful introduction.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
First of all, I hate sand, by the way.
I hate sand too.
And I also thoroughly enjoyed Celeana getting like the shit kicked out of her by like menial training tasks.
I thought
it was excellent.
I also liked that to succeed, she had to cosplay as a snake. I thought that was funny.
Yep.
I love the bucket of water thing.
Yeah. You will take this bucket to this oasis. You will walk there. You will get water. You will drink that water and you will come back.
And it takes
good luck.
8 hours.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I liked that she... Okay, I liked and then I got really annoyed that she was kind of having this little fling with essentially a mute. And like she had this crush on this quiet person. And then I got really annoyed when she refused to kiss him because she was thinking about Sam. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
yeah, so essentially she's gone there to the Silent Assassins to be trained by the head of the Silent Assassins. And the head of the Silent Assassin is basically fucking with her. He's like, no, not today.
Yeah.
And every day she's asking Ansel, when will he speak to me? And Ansel's just like, he'll speak to you when he's ready to speak to you. I haven't spoken to him. Like, good luck. And Celeana is getting increasingly pissed off because she just wants to go home.
And Ansel is also calling Celeana out on her shit. Like,
her
constantly. She
amazing.
Is like, because Ansel has worked really fucking hard to be where she is. And it's not that Celeana hasn't, but Celeana has been like handpicked by somebody, Arabin, to be who she is, and
She's
he
been
has
groomed into
honed her
assassins.
as
Yeah.
as if she's a tool, whereas like Ansel has worked like because this is what she wants to do.
Yeah, it's
And
a choice.
it's a choice, and she's worked really hard to try to get to where she is. And she sees Celeana, and the way Celeana is such
Doted
a
on.
cocky bitch.
Yeah.
And she's just
Swaggering
like,
about. Yeah.
yeah, and just clearly has an air of like, I'm better than everybody here. And she is just like, fuck you, you're not better than me. And I think you're a snob, and I think that you think you're better than me. So that's an interesting thing.
Is there not a bit where she goes through? Is it she goes through Ansel's drawers in Ansel's room and is like, she folds her pants?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Bit personal.
She's a bit judgy. There's also a weird, I noticed this when I was going back through it. There's a weird juxtaposition in the moment where what is his name? Elias, where Elias walks her back to her room, and he goes to kiss her. She clearly like wants him to kiss her, and then she's like, no, 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 like that's too big of a moment. It would be my first kiss, and I can't have my first kiss be with someone that I can't like commit to. And then she like next sentence is talking about Ansel like wandering back from someone else's room. And it's like she doesn't say it in a judgy way, but it's also like
That's judgmental.
Yeah.
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 I thought that was kind of fun.
And somehow, despite all of this, they become friends.
Yeah.
Wild. And they steal horses together.
They steal horses. So this is the novella in which Celeana steals the super rare, super expensive, like prize-winning horse from a small town where she goes with Briar. And they steal horses.
Yep.
They steal horses.
I love that. I love it like when we find that later and she's speaking to Dorian or Chaol and it's like Chaol's birthday present, right? Like
Yeah,
Chaol
she
gets it
gives
for his
him the
birthday.
horse. Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh yeah, I had one of these once." And like Dorian and Chaol look at her and they're like, "What? Like how did you get one of these? This is like what royalty have." And she's like, "Yeah, I stole that."
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like Elwood's like, what? It's hard.
Yeah.
I had that. Boring. Been there, done that. Wrote that.
She also we're already past this novella, but she does that with Irene too. Irene is like I don't have any way to get the money that I need to leave, and she's like, why don't you just steal it from the guy who owns this bar?
Yeah.
Kill him while we're at it.
Yeah.
Here's how to
Pretty,
do
like
it.
lacking in morality at this point.
I really wouldn't have been surprised if she didn't leave her money. She just left her a dagger and a really sarcastic note that was like, "Kill him."
Yeah.
Get on with it.
Just do it.
You can do it, babe.
I believe in you.
Cosplaying as a snake was an interesting choice, right?
Yeah. It was giving Karate Kid. It was very
Yeah.
like Mr.
It
Miyagi.
was.
The
It
whole
was like-
novella is giving Karate Kid. Let's just face it.
To me, it reminded me of that scene from Kung Fu Panda where he's like trying to like get his inner like Kung Fu vibes.
Yeah. It's something.
It's like, because there's a snake in Kung Fu Panda, right? And then they like it like wiggles and teaches Po or whatever the panda's called.
Also, like, I mean, listen, I'm an American white lady. This was written by an American white lady. There's something so like quintessentially colonial to me about like, oh, she goes into the desert to train with the secret assassins that are in the desert. Like, it's giving Batman Begins. It's like a little bit appropriative. Like it's a little weird.
It is giving
not
like
the best look.
Borderline. This could be problematic later.
Yeah,
if
like
you don't do this right.
Like this could have gone real sideways real quick. Like if this becomes a movie, they have to be careful.
Oh, so careful.
Yeah.
So careful to not just be all of the stereotypes. And the fact that they take a vow of silence is like
That's
why?
borderline,
Like, come on.
you're starting
Monks.
to get into dangerous
Yeah.
territory here.
Yeah.
You could offend so many people. But the snake bit was hilarious.
And by the way,
what I loved was that the snake bit at the end.
yeah.
I could just imagine her being like,
Yeah, like she's like, because the thing is that by the end it's like worked, and she's like, I thought it was so cheesy because she's as
like,
the action
I
is
will
happening, she's
get
like,
this
and I
man."
am embodying the ass. And I'm like, oh my god,
She's like,
yeah.
So for anyone who's listening,
There's a lot of grooving on this podcast right now.
there's so much grooving going on. Essentially,
Everyone else is hearing
somebody.
Flick for you in their mind, like with Britney Spears and the big snake.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
All right.
So essentially, somebody has come to attack the silent assassins,
Yeah.
and Celeana
I
is
forgot this
trying
bit
to
had
get.
a plot, by the way.
Yeah, I did
Yeah,
too. I
it's
thought it
funny
was
that, isn't it?
Is this the part where she has the party that she describes as an orgy, but actually she's just dancing?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to read this quote to people. I just think it's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, what do you
Who is it
mean?
that's coming to attack them again?
Well,
Some dude, right?
well,
Go for it.
it
Oh my God.
technically speaking, it is some dude, but it's actually, it was Ansel all along.
Yeah. But then it goes
Yeah,
sideways or something.
it goes completely tits up.
Yeah.
As
And
do
then
most
and then
things.
that's why Ansel like will always try. It's because she basically lets Ansel go at the end.
She does.
Right?
So because they have become so close, and Ansel essentially saved Celena's life at one point.
Besties.
Celena's like, okay, I will pay you back. You have like 20 minutes to disappear.
Yeah.
Good luck. And funnily enough, she has the shot. So she's got the bow and arrow, and she's able to take the shot, and she's counting, but she still doesn't take it.
Yeah.
And she lets
That's her
Ansel
luck.
get away.
Well, when she takes it, it's like it hits like the sand like right behind her heels as Ansel's like running away, and then she's like, you know, I told her it would be 20 minutes, but I fired after 21. So she let her have another minute to get out of reach.
Yeah.
Also, how did Celeana know that 21 was the magic number? Is she like some sort of like archery, like foresighty queen?
Yeah,
she can just do everything, can't she?
We actually find out in Throne of Glass that she's a crazy archery queen. And then like it's kind of weird because a lot is made of her archery skills all the way throughout I think Queen of Shadows, and then she kind of just switches to the sword after that, and we don't really see her do it. But she's really good at archery. It's like one of her things.
She could have gone clay pigeon shooting, but like real hawk shooting.
Yes.
Take that back. Leave my baby out of this.
I missed it.
He would have healed.
No, you mean you? No.
Yeah.
That man was perfect from the second he walked onto the page.
No, he was, but like they could have played fun games together.
She would have accidentally hurt him.
Yeah, but
maybe not all that accidentally either.
Yeah, that would have been on purpose, depending on when this game was played.
Oh
Anyway,
so
read us your quote.
This is not the quote I picked, by the way, but it is a great quote. It is
I love how you're laughing.
It's actually so well written. This was more than a party. It was a performance, an orgy, and a call to worship at the altar of excess. Celeana was a willing sacrifice. But the thing is, like, she's just dancing. Like, this is just a party with dancing.
Silly.
It's so like
silly. Music, right? It's like a mute party, right? Like, there's no music.
No one. Yeah, there's no music playing.
Silent desert rave.
It's like those headphones parties, but without
Silent
You
disco.
take the headphones off and you just hear people going, stomp, stomp, stomp. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you went to a silent disco, but you didn't have a pair of headphones. You were just there.
Yeah.
Like
Alex went to one of those silent discos recently. He's been to a couple of them in Calvin Grove Museum, which is like down the road from us. And he sent me a couple of videos, and it's funny because he's taken videos of people like in the rave with the light sticks, but what he doesn't realize is in the videos I can't hear the music that he's hearing, so all you can hear is like,
yeah.
that, and I'm like, what?
I think they're
you just
probably
imagine?
super fun. But yeah, to do it with no music is like, and then to describe it as
your inner soul,
and then to describe it as an orgy, but you won't even kiss a man. Like, shut up.
Could you imagine just walking in on that though? Not having a clue what was going on, and just walk in and be like, right. Just
I wouldn't be
back up.
surprised if like Nehemiah from like the final trial wasn't cutting chips in the corner.
Right? Like, are you kidding me?
It's giving Doctor Strange.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Do we learn anything in this one that really? I mean, we do see Ansel again, but
Yeah.
Is it
We learn about
explained?
Ansel, we learn about her backstory, and then she's brought up again in Queen of Shadows, but we don't see her until
I
dusk.
kind of forget she exists, and then she shows
Yeah.
up and I'm like, who's this bitch again?
Yeah.
And if you haven't read Assassin's Blade, by the way, you'll meet her.
You'd be like, who the
at
fuck
end
is
and be like,
this?
who is this? Yeah.
So she's spoken about, and like, oh, she's got like red hair, and just that, and that's nice.
This is a really interesting topic, actually, because we meet Rolf later, but when we re-meet him, it's explained what happened the first time.
Yeah.
When we re-meet Ansel again, it's not explained who she is or where she kind of comes from.
Well, it's kind of explained. It is kind of explained because Celeana says several times throughout the books that she studied with the Silent Assassins from the Red Desert, and then it is explained that Ansel commands a band of Silent Assassins from the Red Desert. So like it's not explained like how they know each other exactly, but it's pretty clear that they encountered each other at that point in time.
Yeah.
And Manon speaks about Ansel because they're talking about who has the throne in the Waste.
Is she a witch?
No.
Because that really confused me.
The witches have been expelled from the Wastes.
Yeah,
That's
because
We'll
talk about it when we get there. But
we'll talk about it when we get there. But basically, like the witches. I mean, this is just background lore. The witches have a thought in mind of like maybe someday if a certain prophecy is fulfilled, we could go back to where we're from, which is now the Waste.
Like take it away from.
Yeah. But the thing is they don't actually know that other people are there. Like they think the Wastes are just wastes, but actually there
in
are
the interim
people there. They just happen to be like shady people that are assassins.
Yeah. Okay.
But is this also when we meet the trader, the merchant?
Yes.
The spider.
So we meet
the spider.
Yeah, we meet him and we find out about the trade he made. Yeah, he was great.
I like him a lot.
Yeah. So he gives her a patch of Stygian spider silk, which she then takes away back to Ardalan.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that this is one of the reasons I didn't enjoy this book as much as because this was written by baby Sarah J. Maas, right? And like she started writing Assassin's Blade when she was 16. And the thing about that is anyone who's read Sarah J. Maas knows that she's like kind of the queen of the Chekhov's gun, and she's very skilled at it. She's very skilled at putting these little details here that she maybe will, maybe won't pull on later. And that's also her genius, is that she doesn't pull on all of them later.
It's also her downfall because she leaves a lot of things open sometimes.
But in this case, in the case of Assassin's Blade, every single thing she puts out there is not, it's, the subtlety is at zero. It's like, here's a spider silk merchant talking about how this is the strongest material in existence and is basically like a bulletproof jacket. And it's like, okay,
Yep.
I wonder if that might be important.
Didn't really
This is gonna come up
didn't
weird.
didn't really help. Which we'll get onto in a bit.
Well, but
where
it
she
helps.
puts it.
It helps in the main story when we encounter
It does
again.
It helps later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
So are there any quotes that stood out to you here other than Crimson's orgy?
Oh, I have another one.
Crimson. I was going to say you have a second one, right? What did you have?
This is actually the only one in which I picked a favorite quote that I liked and that I cackled at because I was like, hell yeah. Even though I think this might be like my least favorite of the stories.
Amazing.
Hold on. It is. But Ansel stalked past her and said, "You're just a spoiled, selfish bitch." With that, she left Celeana to finish her morning chores. And I was like, finally, somebody who agrees with me about this woman. Because at this point in time, Celeana is a spoiled bitch. Like,
she's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Agreed. Molly.
Amazing.
What'd you have?
I had, if you can learn to endure pain, you can survive anything.
Beautiful.
That little kid is hardcore goth.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
Love it. I have a quote from like the cool dude himself. The master guy. Where he says, "When you give your master his letter, also give him this, and tell him in the Red Desert we do not abuse our disciples."
Ooh.
Shade.
And I was like, Arabin can go fuck himself.
Yeah, well, Arabin
because the Red Desert Master is telling you to do one.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, like, what are you gonna do, dude? You're too far away.
Come get me.
Mom,
I just liked it though. It was just a bit of like
no, I like it too.
Yeah. Of like,
I like that he's very clear with Celeana, like what you are experiencing is not normal, even amongst like our kind of people. Yeah.
Then we've got the underworld. So this is where things take like a weird turn because I can never totally remember what happens in this. This is after the Red Desert. This is when she comes home.
So before we get into the summary, I would just like to say this is where I went from being kind of bored, kind of annoyed to I am viciously angry at this book. That's where
interesting.
That's where it happens.
Crimson's like, what the hell is going on?
I mean,
in the House of
when
Commons.
I went back to look at my reactions, I was shouting about some of the things that were happening because I was so annoyed with them.
I cannot wait to hear why.
So, the assassin and the underworld. Celeana is back in Adolin, and Arabin is kind of kissing her ass a little bit, and is like, "I will give you anything. I'm so sorry that I beat you with an instrument." Yeah. And because I want your forgiveness so bad, I have a special assignment for you that will help fight slavery in the kingdom. So obviously she jumps at the chance because she's, anti-slavery, as you should be.
And a child and too trusting.
Yes. The mission is a dark and deadly affair which takes Celeana from the rooftops of the city to the bottom of the sewer. Literally. Yeah. And she doesn't like what she finds there. So, Celeana has been intending to pay off Arabin Hamel. So she owes him money for her upkeep, essentially, for all of the masters that he employed, for her education, for her finery, whatnot. She has purchased an apartment, and when she arrives at the Assassin's Keep, he's, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I'll do anything. And he showers her with gifts, including very impressive and expensive armor.
Mm-hmm.
And he asks her to take on their new high-profile client, who is a wealthy woman who wants her ex-husband unalived. Celeana agrees and lets Sam help when he asks to. So they initially go to a party together, and a group of men show up wearing masquerade outfits. And these men are very clearly Dorian and Cabbagehead. Dorian and Celeana lock eyes for a moment across the room, and they actually flirt for a while before Sam
Falling
comes over
in.
and breaks it
Oh,
up.
He is the
Oh,
king
yeah.
of Riz, always. I love him.
Yes. So she is there getting, intel for this new client. And after this, Celeana pays off her debt to Arabin, like the very next morning. And she says, look, I will still work with you. I'm happy to still, do your killing. And during some of its surveillance, she's discovered and is taken to the city sewers to die, effectively. And the sewers are flooded, like completely flooded with all the whatnots that you would imagine.
Poop.
Yeah. Sam rescues her at the last possible moment. Like, she is like breathing in the sewer contents, and is like right
screaming at a manhole.
It's up at the manhole surface level. And he rescues her. She proceeds to kill the ex-husband and discovers that he was actually the good guy all along.
Oopsie daisy.
Whoops. But he is already dead. The deed is done. And afterwards, Celeana decides to tell Arabin about the fact that she's moving out. She sells her Asterian horse. Didn't last long. To then buy Sam's freedom. So Sam is also free. And that's when Sam tells her that he's been in love with her for a long time, and she realizes that she has feelings for him too. And
Aww.
they are mushy, gross in love.
So this actually happens, that part actually happens before she gets captured. Because it happens in the sewer where, so when they go to infiltrate
With the mushies.
the house, they also
It's a different kind of mushy.
They take the sewer because there's an entrance where basically people are putting their trash into the sewer. So there's an entrance from the house. So they figure out that that's the best way to get in, and so they're hanging out in the sewer, talking about the smell,
chill place,
as this man
is professing his love.
Puts the moves on her.
And then no. He professes his love later, but they kiss each other in the sewer. There's a kiss in the sewer.
And then they kiss.
It's the
worst
disgusting
place.
The first kiss, not only with Sam, but of her life, is in a sewer. Literally, it smells like shit. Are you kidding?
Do you know what really annoys me about Celeana's choices is, okay, there's 2 times this happens. There's 2
her life
times
decisions, really.
There's 2 times that this happens, and that really fucking bugs me, okay? The first one is the kiss. She could have had, the silent assassin, master's son.
Yeah.
It's so cute in the corridor after, the most orgasmic dance of her life, or whatever. And she then chooses to kiss in
Sewer boy.
someone else's floaters.
It was so important for this to be a special moment that you couldn't do it with the sweet boy that you knew it wouldn't work out with.
Right.
But
this happens again.
Ugh, I know.
I mean,
you're not
again.
We can't talk about it, but I know.
It.
I know.
Well, we can talk about it because we've already done the episode on it. So,
oh wait,
you know.
Oh, you mean with
This happens again
That's not
a
what I was
couple
thinking
books
of.
prior in Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight, where she initially is having a cutesy tee-hee romance with Dorian, and they kiss for hours. Okay, you make up for the kiss with Sam in the stinky sewer. But then instead of Dorian, you choose to fuck Kale, the plank man.
Oh, but babe, I thought you were talking about
the sewer.
No, I thought you were talking about something that happens
Queen
in
of
Empire
Shadows.
of Storm. Nope.
Oh.
Empire of Storms.
Okay.
Empire of Storms. The beach.
Yep.
Yeah.
No. Yes.
That was a choice, by the way.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you mean in choices?
That's a bad choice.
Oh, that is like sand in your holes choice.
Yeah. So anyway, we don't have to. Anyway, yeah, she makes a lot of bad choices when it comes to like who and when and where she's going to fuck them, for sure. Like or deal with them or deal with hold them. Hands even. Like it's just like, what are you doing, girl?
You're never gonna forget where she had her first kiss, though.
That's true.
It makes me feel sick.
So this entire the entire novella, I was frustrated with her because she's been beaten within an inch of her life. She's been sent on a potentially dangerous but also arduous journey to try to train with a man who maybe wouldn't even train you for years. She's basically been exiled by her master.
Yeah.
And then she comes back after saving the whole thing, which is great, right? I've succeeded. And then she immediately decides to trust him again. Like, immediately is like, yeah, I'll do this job with zero research. I won't look into the details at all. Guy who was just buying slaves 5 minutes ago and now is so sorry. And like, listen, I know that this is like truly mirroring what the way victims of domestic violence like act in real life. Like I understand that, but as a fantasy reader, it was very frustrating. It was very frustrating to watch this woman who's supposed to be this wily assassin just be like, yeah, it's totally the husband. Like he totally sucks and I'm not going to research this at all.
Of course it's the man.
Like,
look in your own house, sweetheart.
Yeah, like the call is coming from inside the house. What do you mean? Do you really think like he literally forces you, like has raised you to be very expensive, and he constantly is like giving you gifts that you have to pay him back for later, and you think that he's gonna just let you buy out? Like,
not happening.
No way.
No.
Absolutely not.
Wishful thinking, but no.
Yeah. I don't know. So I was frustrated with that, and then the kiss happened, and then I
blanked out for the rest. Right now.
Yeah.
Did you have a quote from this one?
Yes, but I would love.
Or was it just the sewer?
I would love to hear your quotes first. Let me pull my quote while you guys.
Okay, so mine was, "My name is wind," she whispered, "and rain, and bone, and dust. My name is a snippet of a half-remembered song."
That was beautiful.
That is beautiful.
Yeah, and it's also, true. So,
yeah.
True story.
I didn't have a specific quote, but I think, I can't remember when it happens, but I love the bit when she recognizes Dorian and Kale enter the ballroom.
Yes.
Because she's like, one of them is like, he's the life of the party, and there's his stoic plank board of a friend.
There's his bitch.
Yeah, that's essentially the vibe.
That's amazing.
There's that babe, and there's the bitch that goes along with him. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it is the sewer, but I feel like we need to read it anyway.
Go for it, babe.
Okay. "I love you," he repeated, shaking her again. "I have for years, and he hurt you and made me watch because he's always known how I felt. But if I asked you to pick, you'd choose Arabin, and I can't take it. The only sounds were their breathing and uneven heat against the rushing of the sewer river. You're a damned idiot," she breathed. "You're a moron and an ass and a damned idiot." He looked like she had hit him, but she went on and grasped both sides of his face. "Because I'd pick you." And then she kissed him.
She touched him with her poo hands.
She literally was thinking about the rushing of the sewer river.
Right
as it
in
happened.
his face.
Like, as it's happening, she's like,
The
sewer
chunky
river.
water.
All I can hear over the shh of the sewer. Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't with this one.
Those were choices.
They were huge choices.
The Assassin and the Empire is the very last novella in The Assassin's Blade.
It is.
It is. So, one final mission could be the beginning or the end. Celeana is the assassin with a place to call her own. She has her own flat. She's moved in with her new BF Sam, and they are moments away from freedom, essentially. However, she is not going to be free until she can get the fuck out of Dodge and away from Arabin Hamel. So she and Sam decide that they are going to take one more assignment, get the money from that, and then move away from Ardalan and go to the continent, where they'll start up their own business, should we say. And it's this last assignment where Celeana learns that having everything means that all of that can be taken away. So she, as part of her assignment, is set to go after this one particular nemesis, I suppose, of Arabin Hamel. Now, bear in mind, up until this point, Sam has been street fighting, effectively, for extra cash.
He has.
And she is just trying to figure out what the hell to do. Effectively, she's like packing up, ready to move.
Yeah.
Yep.
She spends the whole novella pack.
She sends the whole novella packing, and
she's got a lot of stuff.
She's got so much stuff. She is a material girl. And this last mission is kind of one for the book. So she has, in the last novella, obtained this armor, this suit of armor that has all of these tips and tricks to help her in her life as an assassin. And she's also had the same thing made for Sam, which cost an astronomical amount of money. An arm and a leg, perhaps quite literally. And she's also had that sneaky little patch of Stygian spider silk sewn into the suit over his heart to protect him. So
cute, right?
Yeah, so cute. So no,
she told him about it.
She didn't tell him about it. So Celeana is on this last mission, and her and Sam decide to work together. So he will do one part of the missions, she will do the other. Only it goes terribly wrong.
Basically like, you can plan and do like the theory bit, but the grunt work is mine. Which I didn't like, to be fair.
And wouldn't you know, he never comes home.
Yep.
So she is waiting for him in the apartment, and you can see like the time and the hours passing, and she looks at the clock and she goes, shit, it's way too late. So she decides to go to the keep to find out what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
And that's where she finds out, and Arabin tells her that Sam is dead. And he takes her to his body in the basement. And she lies with him.
The fan art of that, though, have you seen that one picture?
Yeah.
Heartbreaking.
And this boy's body he's been tortured.
Mutilated, yeah.
He has been mutilated, he's been tortured. And the thing that all she can think about is that he doesn't smell like him, and that he smells like the cheap soap that she made him use instead of her expensive lavender one, and that she wishes she'd let him use her lavender soap.
That broke me a little bit, that bit. I was like,
yeah.
Imagine if you weren't such a raging bitch.
So naturally, she decides that she has to get revenge. So she has decided to break into Jane's house. She easily takes down Jane and his guards, and she makes her way to Farron, at which point a smoke enters the room, which paralyzes her, and she passes out. And that's when she realizes that somebody in the keep has betrayed her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Farron then turns her over to the King of Ardarlan, and everything kind of like shit hits the fan, effectively.
Yes, it does.
Yes. Yeah. So Celeana is brought before the king and other officials for a private trial, and she won't say shit. She's done. She's broken. She, like, the boy that she thought she was the love of her life is dead. She's been captured. She's been brought before who we learn to be her enemy, because obviously at this stage we know that he's the reason her parents are dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? She effectively asks him to make it quick before the sentence. It's the last words, make it quick. And he decides to give her 9 life sentences at the salt mines of Endovia instead of death. He's like, I'm not making it quick. You'll suffer instead. And it's on her way to Endovia in this cart where you find out that Arabin and his secret ally Farron are watching as her wagon rolls away, and that they had conspired to kill Sam and Jane to be able to take over. And Arabin is asked by Jane, why the hell did you do this to Celeana? And he responds with, because he doesn't like to share his belongings.
Yep. Fucking
He's
asshole.
such a dick.
He's such a dick. So this novella is kind of pivotal for a number of reasons. Obviously, it's the novella where we find out why she was sent to Endovia in the first place. We see her lose it all, or at least at that point, what we think is her entire life and her entire reason for existing. Obviously, now having read onwards, obviously this is a reread, we know that that's not the case, and it's kind of poetic in that she thinks that Sam Cortland is the love of her life. But looking back, it's kind of like obviously what we were talking about. We look at these relationships that we have when we were younger, and we have such fond, well, I say such fond memories, ideally fond memories, and like, oh, I'm in love, I'm totally in love with this person. But when you look back on it with perspective, you're like, I was a child, I didn't know what that meant.
He would not have made a good partner moving forward. Like,
he would have been terrible.
No.
Yeah, so the thing that was striking me as I was reading this was these two are fucking idiots. Like they
are so stupid.
Just the fact, because at this point, by the end of the last novella, Sam's freedom has been bought. Her freedom has been bought, and so like legally speaking, they are free from Arabin. But they both are talking the whole time throughout this novella that like Arabin's not going to let them go without a fight. Like, and so Sam is like, we have to go, to the southern continent, in order to like escape him. And Celeana was driving me crazy at this point because she was like, but how am I going to bring all my stuff? And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, Arabin's going to kill you.
That's
and
what you're worried about.
And you're worried about your
like, you can
they
get
were
more
children.
Stuff.
They were children playing a children's game, and they thought that they were better than they were, because obviously the master of your keep is going to be one step ahead. Like,
yeah. Well, but also just the naivety of like, he's like, okay, like we have to go to the southern continent, so let me take this one last job and let me do it on my own, because I just like need to be a man and do it on my own. Like, it was so annoying. And she was also so annoyed with him for doing the fights, and it was like, but you literally need to make money. And like,
they wouldn't last 5 minutes.
No.
In the real world.
There's no way. And the fact that she looks back on it is like, oh, I was so in love with him. He was the person that she says at one point, like, oh, he was probably my soulmate. And I'm like, girl, be so fucking real.
It doesn't make sense. It's like
No.
you weren't even getting along for more than 5 minutes. Like, it doesn't even. And then the other thing, which, okay, this is my very anti-purity culture in me, like, reading her be like, we sleep next to each other in bed every night and we think about doing more than kissing, but then, like, we don't do it. And then you think he's the love of your life. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, it doesn't. It's so weird. Like, no.
Yeah.
Especially because neither of them are tied to any sort of religion, or like there's nothing like that in the book that makes you think that she and when she eventually does it, in which we've already talked about, Crown of Midnight, she doesn't think that it's like this big life-changing thing. It's like she's like, yep, I'm just gonna do it. So it's very, I don't know. And I think the thing that struck me the most is that, well, there's two things. The first is, when you read about the relationship before you read Assassin's Blade, the way she remembers the relationship later is as if they're like this Bonnie and Clyde that were planning to ride off into the sunset and were on like the precipice of the rest of their life together and had it all figured out. And then when you read it, it's like, these two are crazy. This was never going to work out. You guys were going to break up within 6 months. Yeah.
They were dating because they were each other's childhood crushes.
Yeah.
It was 100% rose-colored glasses, and it was doomed to fail. It was doomed to fail.
Angst.
Yeah.
And then the second thing, and to me, this just logistically doesn't really make sense because, and I know, like, I've had this argument with people many, many times, but like, I understand that it would be a very traumatic thing to see the person that you love the most in the world at that point in time in the state that his body was in. Like, I do get that.
And they're super young. Yeah.
But Celeana is a trained assassin who has killed hundreds of people and has tortured other people herself. It does not make sense to me that she would be so emotional about that specific aspect of it, like that she just breaks down and can't move and shuts completely down. Like, it just really feels unrealistic to me that somebody who's been kind of broken in the way you have to be broken to kill people for a living like would react in the way that she reacts at that point in time.
It would make more sense if she was like, obviously she was torn up about the fact that he was gone. Yeah. But there seemed to be more of an impact put on the fact of how they did it rather than that they did it.
Yeah.
And I think that it's like, well, you've clearly probably done this stuff to other people. Yeah. Yes, it sucks because it's of who it is. But the focus was more on how than who. Yeah. In also, the way that it's described.
The way it's worded in the other books, because you do find out what happened to him in the other books. It just doesn't, you're not, it's implied, it's actually like heavily implied in the other books that she was there while it was happening. And the truth is, Sam dies off page.
Yeah, we don't see anything. We all we're told is he died and she's taken down to his body. Like, that's anticlimactic as fuck. You know?
Like, I was like, what do you mean I don't even get to see this moment? Like, I thought she had to watch him get tortured. No. Like, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, anybody, no matter what, like, that would change your perspective on it, like, completely.
100%, but no.
But instead, she's, like, taken to a body. And, like, I don't know. Like, it's just, the whole, I was very annoyed with this whole thing.
Crimson doesn't like this book.
Don't like this book. I'm sorry.
Did you have also a quote from this bit?
Which one? Who, me? Me or Crimson?
Well, both, really.
Well, yes. So it is from after the summary that I gave. So Celeana is on her way in the wagon to Endovia. And she is worried because she knows that Endovia is a death camp. But on the journey there, Celeana spots a rare white stag, which is the symbol from her homeland of Terrasin. And this gives her a little bit of hope. So we see her become so downtrodden and, you know, kind of accepting her fate, which is to die and be tortured for the rest of her days. But seeing this stag restores some of the hope, and she becomes ready to face and conquer Endovia. So the quote is, "The stag, the lord of the north, so the people of Terrasen will always know how to find their way home. So they can look up at the sky no matter where they are and know Terrasen is forever with them."
Beautiful.
So this is kind of... it's the quote that kind of instills that she's still who she is deep down, and that she hasn't been completely destroyed by what's happened to her, and that she will get through what is coming.
Yeah.
What about you guys? Anything?
I got a sad one about Sam.
Right.
The quote that I just thought this was really beautiful. Like, it was a really nice, like, piece of writing. It says, she would tuck Sam into her heart, a bright light for her to take out whenever things were darkest, and then she would remember how it had felt to be loved when the world held nothing but possibility.
Yeah.
I just thought it was really pretty.
That is
And a really beautiful way to describe a bit of grief, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
What about you, Crimson? Dare we ask?
Yeah, I know, I was gonna say, oh god.
It's actually not that bad. It's like it's okay. It's after Arabin has been to her apartment and visited her to basically tell her, like, I'm in control. Like, he visits her to be shitty and scare her, and she does not tell Sam about it. So she mentions that she hasn't mentioned the surprise visit, and then she thinks she says, "I'm tired. It wasn't a lie." She began unbuttoning her tunic, her hands feeling strangely clumsy. Was this why he'd visited? Because he'd known he'd impact her like this. She straightened, hating the thought so much that she wanted to shatter the mirror in front of her. And Sam says, "Did something happen?" And she doesn't take it off. She turns to face him and says, and in her mind, she says, "Could she ever tell him anything?" And he says, "Talk to me." And she sees that there's only concern in his eyes, no twisted agendas, no mind games. And then she sidesteps the question and says, "Tell me your deepest secret." And then his deepest secret is lame. It's that he's loved her his whole life.
Yeah.
Boring.
And then her deepest secret is that she feels like a coward inside and she's scared all the time.
Which is obviously a sidestep from her actual secret.
Yes. And then she never
Just a
tells
rediversion?
him who she is, about her identity, about anything. And then later, Arabin encounters Sam on the street on purpose and is like, "You need to ask her about who she really is." And he's like, "I found out that Arabin came to see us and you didn't tell me." And he also said, "I should ask you who you are, but I don't care about any of that. I love you anyway." And I found that whole thing really annoying because what do you mean you
can't
don't
be
care
the
that she's
least bit
lying to
curious.
you? Like, ugh.
It would have never worked, and I refuse to accept that he would be okay, or not okay, but he'd be able to live with being second to her when all of his life, pretty much, he's complained about the fact that he's always been seen as less than her.
Yes.
Yeah. And I also think, you know, I mean, I don't want to say the quote that I want to say because we'll talk about it when we talk about Queen of Shadows, but I think she later has this rose-colored look at like what their life could have been like, even knowing that it was inevitable that she would come to terms with who she is. And like, I'm pretty sure that even if they had made it, that would have blown up their relationship because
100%.
all he wanted was out.
Yeah.
That's
There's
all
no
he ever
way
wanted.
He would have
got that.
Yeah.
No. Oh boy.
Wow.
What a
phenomenal
journey,
woman.
guys.
What a
Right?
journey.
And our next episode is coming up. Our next episode, I mean, this is a relatively short book, and we spent a lot of time. So we have Air of Fire coming up next.
Yeah.
Which is fun. Air of Fire will be a two-parter. We're gonna do it's Air of Ash, I think, is like the first half of the book, and Air of Fire is the second half. And it will be a two-parter. We're recording it all at once,
Because
but it will be a
we
two-parter.
yap.
We will probably record like a 4-hour long episode or something ridiculous. By the time that we finish. So, bring snacks to that episode, guys, because you're gonna need them. But before we finish up for the night, what are your plans this week? What are you reading this week, Crimson?
We didn't do the star reading.
We didn't do the star reading.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your
How
star reading?
remiss of us.
I know. Who are we?
No.
It is like midnight, to be fair.
Emmy,
So-
you start. How would you rate this book on a scale of 5 stars?
I gave it a 4. This is like a 5-star series for me. I really enjoyed it, but I think that to read this book, you need to take it very lightly.
Yeah. That's fair.
It was a very fun, good time read for me the first time I read it. I never usually read it in the reread, so it was nice going back and picking up on things that I didn't pick up before. Now that I've done extensive reads of the other books.
Makes sense.
So, yeah. I'm excited for Kingdom of Ash in the same way, because I've only ever read Kingdom of Ash twice.
I can't wait
I've
to
read
Kingdom of Ash.
Throne of Glass like 6 or 7 times. Like, I love that book. I've always loved that book, and I read it as a standalone all the time.
Yeah.
Kingdom of Ash I read once with the book, once as an audiobook. So I'm excited to read that. But yeah, a 4-star for me. What about you guys?
I would say a 3. Like, there are parts of it I really enjoy, but there are others that I'm like, meh.
Yeah.
Could have lived without, you know?
I respect that.
It was good getting backstory into how she got to Endovia and how her relationship with Arabin actually was, and kind of seeing his true nature. And also, obviously, I love Irene as well. So, yeah, a 3-star. What about you, Crimson?
2 stars. 2 stars.
That's generous. I thought it was going to be
That
worse.
is generous.
Well, the thing is, I did hate this book, but it's in the spectrum of SJM books. And SJM is just a phenomenal writer, and she, even at this early stage, her prose is still fine. It's not as wonderful as it becomes, but it's good. And there are, as you guys pointed out, like some beautiful lines in the book, and there are some fun story bits. So it's not a total loss. It's not like I'm like, for me, 1 stars is like what the fuck did I make myself sit through?
Yeah.
This was not that. This was very like, I don't think that book needed to exist, but whatever. I read it. It's over. I'm fine. There were some bits that I get. Like, I think there was a way to take what this book is and make it something I would like, and I do understand why other people like it. It just wasn't for me. I do not like bratty 16-year-old Celeana. That's just all there is to it.
And that is fair.
Yeah.
So,
what's next on your agenda? What are you reading this week?
So I still have marking. I am in the pits of hell.
You are.
I've spoken about it before, but I am an associate lecturer at university, and I am grading coursework and exams, and I have quite literally like 140, 150 scripts to mark in like less than 3 weeks. So I am dying a little bit every day. So I still got marking to do. That being said, I am still reading when I have time. So I want to continue reading my orc books, obviously. I'm obsessed.
You're really
and I
in
am
the zone with that right now.
I am, and I'm also going to be picking up Quicksilver by Callie Hart this weekend.
Finally!
Ooh.
Because
I am so buzzed.
because I meet her on Sunday.
Yeah, also,
yeah.
I love that I'm so upset that I cannot go to that because I am on holiday.
I might have something for you because Georgia can't come anymore. So there may be books and book totes that you may be receiving.
I would love if she signs anything, if you could get something signed for me. Even a piece of paper that I can stick in my book. Like, I would love that.
There may be a book, there may be a signed book that may have your name in it if it's personalized. That may be coming to you.
I will just start crying. This is what Molly's like, guys, by the way. She is just like the fairy godmother of like bookish life. She like rocked up into the group chat last week and was like, hey guys, because like she has like family that work in Waterstone. She's like, I got these like things. Do you want like some stickers? And she just like whaps out like ACOTAR 10-year anniversary, like 300 piles of stickers. And I'm like, Molly.
Like, ma'am. Yeah.
We love her.
Yeah.
I love you
She
guys.
also is like the queen of booking authors for the podcast too, by the way. So
Yes.
we would not
It's
forget
kind of
Molly.
yeah. What about you guys? What are you guys reading this week?
Crimson?
So it well, to be honest, because we have another podcast recording in a few days, and because it is a Blase Bookish News recording, I will be spending some time prepping for that over the next couple days, which means I probably am not going to have a lot of time to read between that and life obligations.
Yes.
But if I do read, it'll probably be either fan fiction or monsters, because quick and enjoyable.
How are you getting on with Zodiac Academy in your like run through?
I'm not that far into it, but I mean, I'm loving it. It's a good trashy read.
It is.
But I do think I might need to just dive into some serious smut for a second because, yeah, I don't know. Like the slump is still slumping. I don't know what's going on.
I do have to ask, what are your plans for Iron Flame? Have you like DNF'd until like you feel right? Or because
No,
you
it's
were
gonna be a
enjoying bits
thing.
of it.
It's gonna be a thing, I think, where it is sitting there. It is currently sitting next to my bed. And I
think it's giving you like anxiety, maybe.
No. It's going into that object permanence problem space.
Okay.
So it's this thing where like it's just suspended in my mind and I just need the stars to align and one day I will grab it and just do it. That's kind of where I am with reading, like in general right now. Like it's just been hard for me to be. I think I'm still transitioning with the new job, which with how much brain space it takes.
You've
It's
had a
different
lot to
type
deal
of-
with work.
Yeah. So
And
like,
Iron Flame is hefty. It's a good time read, but it's not a good time teehee read. I mean, maybe like it might be best for you to just wait. I know it sounds really dumb,
that's
but
why
like
I'm
bring
thinking
it
like
with
I
you
need
in
to
September.
do a little bit of monster smut and then maybe do like a round of contemporary romance and just kind of do some silly, funny vibes for a while and then go back to the serious stuff. It is a shame though, because like 90% of my TBR is like hardcore romantasy.
Well, to be fair,
I had that problem too for a bit.
Yeah.
We do have that Minotaur book to read by Ruby Dixon, so
Oh yeah. It's sitting like right here, actually. Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Maybe a nice little buddy read, just you and me, because Emmy's boring.
Yeah, I could be into that. I could be convinced.
Boring? I am many things.
If I wear
boring is not one of them.
If I wear this outfit the whole time, will you read it with us?
If you read it to me
buffering
in that outfit.
I could do that. I don't like an audiobook, but I do like reading books out loud, actually.
Come here in September.
Okay.
I will squish in between you both on the sofa.
And let me read you some Monster Smut?
I'll rest my head on one of your laps and you can read me some Monster Smut, yeah.
Oh my god. My dream.
Anyway, what am I reading this week? I have no idea.
Yeah, what are you reading?
What are you reading?
Well, I go on holiday soon. So
you do.
What
are you taking with you?
a lot. We're going for 12 days, so I'm probably taking about 6 or 7 books because I need choice too.
Choices. Yeah.
So I think, and I cancelled my Kindle Unlimited subscription for a while. Because I'm more focused on like physical books right now. So I think I'm gonna try to finish Curious Tides before we leave.
Yeah.
So I can take Stranger Skies with me. I also think I'm gonna take Queen of Shadows because I haven't done that yet, and it would be a really good time for me to just sit down and like whap it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
what a
one's
weird
so good.
way
You'll
to
just
phrase
fly. Yeah. Yeah.
So Stranger Skies and Queen of Shadows. I think I'm going to take Redeeming 6 with me because I want to read the next one. I'm also taking Silver Elite.
Okay,
I want to see what the fuck is going on with that.
What's going on? Yeah.
Mile High by Liz Tom Ford because I'm going to start Windy City.
Yeah.
If you don't like the first one, don't be put off by the rest because the first one's not as good. My favourite one is the third one, but the second one is good. But the third one
am I taking?
made me cry.
Oh, I'm looking at the rest of my books. I'm trying to think of what I want to take with me. I might take some other romance, so maybe like, I'm taking Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry.
Naturally, yeah.
And then I was thinking of taking For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Yes,
because
do it.
you really want me to read that. So
everyone needs to read it.
Mixture.
Everyone needs to read it. Everyone.
Yeah.
Including you, Crimson. It's got monster things in it. You need to read it.
Crimson's not allowed to touch that until she finishes Iron Flame.
I'm also not allowed to buy anything. I've technically broken the buying ban, but actually only once.
What if
you love me?
What if it's gifted?
There are no rules about gifting.
Yeah. It's like 11:30 for us. It's midnight for Crimson.
Yeah, I gotta go to bed.
We all have work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any final thoughts?
No thoughts, just vibes.
Yeah.
What vibes?
Bad ones.
Tired ones. Yeah.
Sleepy vibes.
Sleepy vibes, I think. Thank you for both hanging out. I know it's nearly
As always.
bedtime, so and thank you for listening, whether you're listening or watching. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I'm pretty sure we're on Amazon Podcasts. Are we? We are,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
We are.
That was news to me, even though I am the distributor of our podcasts. I don't know how I managed to miss that.
She is the reason.
You can also find us on YouTube. All of our links are in the description below. If you like our Saturday Mass episodes, you can just tune in for those. They come up every 3 weeks, although we are taking a little break. We've taken the break, I think. So last week we took a break, but every 2 weeks we have a Saturday Mass episode. And we do other fun things too. We just released some episodes on fan fiction. We've got book talk news coming up. We've got a couple of authors coming up too that we're going to hang out with. So stick around. All of our links are in the description, and we'll speak to you guys in the next episode. See you in a bit.
Bye.